Welcome to Commerce Talk. This is Shannon Hain, and I'm a Senior Product Marketing Manager for Adobe and your host for today's podcast. I work on Magento Commerce, Adobe's industry-leading digital commerce platform that powers thousands of B2B and B2C sites around the world. Today, we will be talking about selling to businesses through Amazon, if you should be doing it, and how you could do it better. To dig a little deeper into this topic, I'll be talking with Dwayne Dozier, Director of Strategic Consulting for the Gorilla Group, a digital commerce agency with deep experience in this area. Dwayne, welcome to Commerce Talk. Can you introduce yourself to our audience?
Yes, thank you, Shannon. My name is Dwayne Dozier. I lead the strategy practice at Gorilla Group, a full-service digital agency offering global commerce services for manufacturers and distributors. Gorilla Group is a part of Wunderman Thompson Commerce, which is a part of WPP. Thank you again for having us here today.
Thanks, Dwayne. Over 200,000 B2B businesses now sell on Amazon, and more than 2 million businesses buy on Amazon. It seems like an obvious opportunity. Is there any reason why B2B businesses shouldn't be on Amazon?
It does seem like an obvious opportunity, and it also seems like it should be very obvious that most manufacturers and distributors should have a strategy before they pursue anything digital, Amazon or otherwise. So as I have conversations with clients regarding Amazon as a channel and how much to invest, or even if they should invest, we spend a lot of time talking about their brand positioning. Are they a luxury provider, or do they have perceptions of quality that they don't want to put to risk? We talk quite a bit about their value propositions and if the value proposition of the distributor or manufacturer can be served on Amazon. And while Amazon can be a great channel for revenue, it can be great to provide access to drive-by type of customers purchasing commodity goods. It's probably not well suited for complex configure price quote, make-to-order negotiations, complex order management where the order is split or the payment is split, or potentially the non-purchase experiences that are important to manufacturers and distributors, such as service requests.
An important part to your Amazon strategy is the business model. What should manufacturers and distributors know about it going into this?
Yeah, it's really important to understand the differences of the business models on Amazon or in marketplaces in general, and perhaps your traditional go-to-market channels. You do need to understand what your investments are going to be, what your costs are going to be. Operational costs in the channel many times are surprising to manufacturers and distributors because they're very eager to capture the top-line revenue, but don't have a good understanding that they're going to be facing potentially more handling costs as orders increase, but the number of lines per order decrease. Around the business model, I think it's also important to note that Amazon can be highly disruptive to your traditional channels. You have to have a strategy about talking to your existing channel partners about why you're on Amazon. Is your strategy to test and learn about new product introduction that you can then bring to your traditional channels? That would be a really positive message and a really strong strategy to incorporate your existing.
Got it. And in your experience, what do you think are some of the main advantages of selling on Amazon?
Many of the advantages for B2B manufacturers and distributors are similar to B2C. There's access to new buyers that you might not be able to reach with your traditional field sales force or your dealer or distribution channel. I think I've already mentioned about how you can use Amazon to drive trial around product introduction, and then the ones that are successful take back to your traditional channel. Many of our CPG manufacturer clients do that. Amazon can be used to pilot some of the products that you would want to sell digitally. You can also experiment with the Amazon advertising halo effect. There's a lot of academic research, a lot of practical research, and most agencies know that $1 spent on Amazon advertising has tremendous halo effect in offline channels. That becomes really important for manufacturers and distributors who are trying to sell into big box stores or perhaps sell into large home improvement stores such as Lowe's and Home Depot.
And what do you think are the disadvantages of selling on Amazon?
Some of the disadvantages include that Amazon is very channel-centric. The activity that happens in Amazon channels typically stays in Amazon channels. It can be very hard to extract the data from Amazon to use potentially in your other digital channels or in in your more traditional offline field sales force. There's really poor seller protection many times from Amazon white label efforts, meaning if you have a successful product as a manufacturer and distributor, Amazon likely will look to white label that product. Many manufacturers and distributors think that only happens at scale, but Amazon has scale solved, and so they are pushing downward into less volumes, and the white label effect is real. Again, it's something that a good strategy can handle, because your strategy will be thinking about what happens if Amazon white labels our product. Are we innovating into other products? Can we use the marketplace in a different way?
What types of businesses tend to see success on Amazon?
I think it comes down to, for many of our clients, it comes down to two categories: commodity products or traditional consumer packaged goods. The commodity products, such as earplugs or office supplies or janitorial, are well suited for Amazon because there's not a lot of education that needs to go into helping your customers understand why they should be buying that digitally. We also see the traditional consumer packaged goods companies having great success, especially serving small and medium businesses and mom and pop type businesses. The manufacturers that are built to serve big box stores do not typically have the ability to also go serve small markets. But with Amazon, they can introduce products rapidly, test and learn about the messaging, the price points, the product categories, and then if they find one that's successful, really pour the dollars to that, innovate to that, and get it into a big box. You're seeing great success with Coca-Cola, Kellogg's on the large side, but you're also seeing quite a few emerging brands do that as well.
What are some of the most common mistakes companies make when they start selling on Amazon, and how do you suggest folks avoid those mistakes?
Yeah, I think one of the most common mistakes is to underestimate the complexity of selling on Amazon. Amazon's buy button has masked the complexity of selling for now a generation of buyers. Sellers, though, need to have more awareness of the complexity of the channel. And it comes back to a strategy. It comes back to a strategy of what are we going to sell, at what price point, a strategy to communicate your value propositions in Amazon in a different way than you probably communicate in your field sales channel or on your direct selling site. And I think one of the things that we see a lot is trying to sell too many SKUs instead of entering with one SKU or 10 SKUs or 25 SKUs. Manufacturers are very tempted to enter with entire categories of product. And the challenge is really around the product content. The product content on Amazon is typically written differently than on your print catalog or on your manufacturer direct to consumer site or B2B site. So there's this underestimation of the effort to take what you believe to be complete digital catalog and now transform that to Amazon.
Great. I noticed from my own shopping on Amazon that there are many more opportunities to present rich content today than there were even just a year or two ago. What goes into a list of complete content for a B2B product or a consumer packaged good product on Amazon?
So imagery is important, not just the product imagery, but the brand imagery. And perhaps since you have a limited number of, picture slots on the page, you really need to be choosing how to combine your brand imagery with the product imagery, or the brand imagery with use imagery, or the product imagery with the associated products. So again, thinking through how Amazon is different and how you can present your product than you might do in your catalog is important. On the text side, it's again much the same as with SEO. You need to have compelling short descriptions, compelling single paragraph descriptions, compelling long form content, and of course bullet point attributes. The differences become on Amazon, most manufacturers use far fewer bullet point attributes about their product than they might on their website because the audience is different. And so on Amazon, again, a lot of times it's the transactional drive-by buyer who knows what they want and they're buying a commodity transactional product. Whereas on a manufacturer site, serving engineers, 50 to 100 attributes becomes very important. The engineering documentation becomes important.
When should you consider advertising on Amazon, and what would you consider a good ROI to be for an Amazon ad campaign?
B2B manufacturers and distributors should always consider advertising on Amazon if they're selling on Amazon. And even at a certain scale, they should be considering advertising on Amazon for products that aren't even in their catalog on Amazon. The message here is advertising on Amazon is effective both on the site and as a halo effect off the site. And when you should really consider doing this is when you're getting started to launch a product. You have to build the awareness. I think you need to be advertising for low recognition products that you're just launching. Perhaps that's products at the edges of your catalog, seasonal products, because again, the advertising in seasonality, you can pair the message of your ad to what you're trying to sell. And of course, you should definitely be advertising if you think that you can go get the halo effect that other manufacturers and distributors are seeing, where a dollar spent on Amazon not only returns the dollar on Amazon, but it begins to return it in your direct channels and your indirect channels. CPG companies have absolutely seen it, that the dollars spent on Amazon translate into the dollars in the big box. And then now at the medium-sized business level, they're starting to see it. And it's very natural to think that will continue to move down into smaller businesses.
What kinds of reporting and analysis can you get from Amazon?
Yeah, most of the reporting and analysis from Amazon is aggregated or anonymized. Very rarely do you see any sort of data that would indicate who the buyer is. And in no cases that I can think of top of mind do you see any personally identifiable information. So we receive a lot of questions. How do we start to target with that data? How do we make best use of that data? And what we're seeing for a lot of our manufacturing and distribution clients is to extract the data from Amazon and begin to combine it with your data from other digital channels or your data from your offline channel. You can start to do really interesting comparisons around the keywords that convert on Amazon versus the keywords that convert on your sites. Or you can start to see the effects of advertising the Amazon channel versus advertising potentially on Google or an industrial network. So we see a lot of value in our clients in comparing data from Amazon to other channels.
So beyond comparing your Amazon channel to other channels, are there particular metrics that you should be sure to monitor when looking at your Amazon sales?
I would start with some of the traditional metrics that you would use in any of your channels. So that's things such as total revenue, average order value, average units per transaction, average unit selling price, which sometimes is called average units retail. So looking at those basic levers and then again comparing month over month, year over year within your Amazon channel, comparing that to your more traditional channels. Amazon is very ripe for price sensitivity testing, and you can start to test your prices by just moving it by a penny or a nickel, and start to see how those levers get pulled. So nothing too complex beyond the levers that many businesses should be using.
So are you required to use Fulfillment by Amazon if you're selling through their channel?
You are not required to use Fulfillment by Amazon. Fulfillment by Amazon does offer some advantages. It offers what I call brand protection. When you're signed up and part of the Fulfillment by Amazon program, you typically have reserved inventory that is being managed by Amazon, being fulfilled by Amazon. And again, they have years and decades of experience operating a distribution network at scale that reduces the likelihood that you're going to be receiving questions about order status and shipment status. You can, of course, choose to fulfill on your own. If you do that, you need to have a robust fulfillment network, either built by you, the manufacturer or distributor, or by a third-party logistics partner. This fulfillment area is one of the biggest challenges for manufacturers and distributors to live up to the brand promise that Amazon has set for their customers.
Is there any downside to using Fulfillment by Amazon?
Well, I don't know if I would label it a downside, but it is a significant consideration, and that is your margin. Using Fulfillment by Amazon does cost money, and that money typically will erode your margins. But again, this is just another opportunity to think about strategy. If your strategy is to test and learn new products in Amazon and you want to see if there's demand for that product and use for that product, perhaps margin is not the most important thing.
Managing your product successfully on Amazon sounds like a lot of work, and there's a fair bit of complexity. What can you do to make managing your catalog on Amazon easier?
For Magento customers, They can take advantage of the Magento Amazon sales channel, which is available for no additional charge. Using this channel provides quite a bit of advantages. You input data into Magento, into a structured catalog, and then essentially export or syndicate or push that data into the Amazon channel. Magento provides robust capabilities to manage the catalog and manage the products that will be showing in marketplaces. And again, for many sellers in B2B, just starting with Amazon, Magento provides great tool sets to get started.
Well, that sounds like it would help with catalog management, but what about managing orders that come from the Amazon channel?
Great question. Orders are ultimately the moment of brand truth, in my opinion. A customer that has trusted you to interact with you, to pay you hard-earned money for your great product is just the ultimate moment of brand truth. Again, Magento provides robust capabilities here to manage orders from a variety of channels in a single place within Magento, to have visibility to your orders from the Amazon channel, compare those orders to orders in your traditional Magento channel.
Awesome. Since Amazon doesn't provide email addresses along with order fulfillment information, how do you connect with these customers and establish a relationship with them?
Yeah, there's really two ways that I see a lot of manufacturers and distributors getting started with. One is just putting an invoice with a URL inside the box, right? And directing that customer back to your owned property. Sometimes it's about surveys. You see this with retailers and small B2C players on Amazon, where they are just real sticklers about the satisfaction surveys, and they're trying to get people to comment, and so they can start the communication there. Being able to make it obvious and easy of how to get in touch becomes important. None of those things are groundbreaking. They all seem very obvious. But again, they're not always incorporated in people's strategies, just to use what's worked for you in the past in your business for the last 20 to 50 years.
So marketplaces are certainly hot right now. Do you think this is likely to continue?
I do think this is likely to continue. I'm seeing a lot of investment from manufacturers and distributors of all sizes into marketplaces. Sometimes that takes the form of investment in tools that can help you manage catalogs and orders for the Amazon channel. Sometimes that's starting to make investments into emerging marketplaces in other countries. Sometimes that's working with industry groups to build their own marketplace model of what a complementary marketplace would look like in electrical distribution or in plumbing or in janitorial and sanitation.
I imagine you closely watch Amazon. How do you see them evolving their B2B selling opportunities over the next year or two?
I think Amazon is absolutely thinking about, planning for, and building tools for B2B. That could be building a complex order in the Amazon marketplace and then asking for a quote among many distributors. That could be building a complex order in the marketplace against certain criteria, such as specific delivery dates or times, right? That could be things such as building a very complex order by filtering against complex attributes such as lead-free products or availability to be sold in certain states or countries.
So if you're ready to get started with marketplaces, what should you do next?
If you're ready to get started with marketplaces, I encourage you to create your strategy, understand what others are doing in the marketplace, in your competitor and peer set, really understand your pain, and have clarity of what success looks like in the channel. Again, the opportunity here is to make it so easy that your customers buy complex products using the Amazon buy button. The challenge is making sure that everything behind the buy button is operating as seamlessly as your customers expect it to.
Thank you for listening to Commerce Talk. If you want to learn more about successfully selling on Amazon and other marketplaces, visit Magento.com or GorillaGroup.com.